I'm going to play this rhythm, and I want you to pick out the mistake. Did you catch it? I held that quarter note for too long. This is a problem that comes up whenever we have short notes, like eighth notes, followed by longer notes, like a quarter note or a half note. And that's because it's fairly easy to play eighth notes in time, because you have a lot of notes right after each other. But what if you had some eighth notes and a whole note after? If you're not doing what I'm going to tell you in a second, it may be a lot of guesswork, and you're not going to get those rhythms exactly right. And here's how to do that. There's an easy fix for this. It's called subdivision, and it's the first strategy of many I have for you when it comes to counting in time. So say I have a measure of 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And to count it as eighth notes, we need to subdivide into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And subdividing not only allows you to play more accurately, but it also helps you chart out exactly where the notes hit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Hey students, it's your piano teacher Tim here, and today I'm going to be teaching you obviously a lot more about how to count rhythms accurately, but first there's more to understand about subdivision. A lot of times in your music you're going to see 16th notes and 16th note rhythms, and obviously we have our 4 beats like before, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to subdivide it again using the term and, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but now we have to account for 2 other syllables, E and So each beat is going to go 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So you want to play it like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Hey everybody, it's story time. So when I was in high school, I was playing for my teacher, Mr. Armstrong, and you know what's funny is Mr. Armstrong is like the most piano teacher name ever, don't you think? But that was really his name. And I was playing for him one day, and I was playing a piece in 4/4. And he said,
Tim,
when I was done playing it,
did you know that you played this whole piece in 3/4?
And I was like, no, I didn't. And he goes,
yes, you did.
And here's how you did it. Okay, I don't remember exactly what the piece was, but I remember the rhythm was like this: quarter, quarter, half, quarter, quarter, half. And it was repeated pretty much throughout the whole song. And what I was doing is I was doing this, where I got to that half note and I was just kind of guessing. And this is where subdivision is so important, especially with longer notes. I think it's easy enough to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but then say you went from a measure of eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, to 2 measures of whole notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the point is, when you have those longer notes and you're not subdividing, it can actually be hard to figure out where you're at, and you may even make mistakes like turning a piece that was 4/4 into a piece that's 3/4 because you're not counting that last beat. So not only should you keep counting, but please keep subdividing even though you have longer notes. Another use for 16th note subdivisions is 16th note combo rhythms. You're going to see this type of stuff where you have 2/16, eighth, quarter, and then like this type of thing, quarter, eighth, 2/16, and it can get really confusing. But if you're subdividing, it makes it so much easier. 1 E, and then which is what the eighth note takes up, and then it's just 2 E and by itself. Even with the quarter note, you still want to be doing the whole 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and then I like to underline sometimes just to remind me how long each of these notes is going to take up. So here we go. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, play. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and nailed it. Okay, another example. Say I have this waltz here by Chopin, waltz in A minor. It begins with an incomplete measure. See how it says 3/4? There's only one beat there, and that's a pickup measure. And subdividing can actually help you not only establish the rhythm of the piece, or the tempo we call it, it can also help you hit those pickup notes. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2, 3. Now, quick tip, if it's too much for you to count 1 and 2 and 3 and all the time, I go bum bum bum, or I just go bum 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 bum, 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 bum. I'm still feeling the subdivision. I'm not doing the one eandas and all that. I'm just kind of bum, 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 bum. Feeling the pulse, we call that. Now you may be saying, Tim, what about 32nd notes, right? They're 16th notes even divided by 2, and they're twice as fast. So do you need more syllables for those? Well, that's not the way I do it. So here I have 8 32nd notes, and believe it or not, this is just one beat of the 4 beats in the measure. And to do this, I still actually use this 1 E and right? And there's just 2 notes for each syllable, and that's how I count it out. I just literally just go 1 E and 2 E and or even a little bit faster, 1 E and 2 E and that's how I play 32nd notes. There's a secret. I'm holding it down here, and it's the secret to counting accurately all the time, no matter what, but you got to get used to it. It's called the metronome. The metronome provides a series of beeps at regular intervals, which helps you keep the time. 2, 3, 4. And it's really good at getting your pieces up to speed, maintaining consistent tempo, and actually figuring out where the problem areas are in your playing. Because if you're playing with a metronome at a certain speed and you can't do it anymore, like in the middle of the song, then the middle of the song needs more work, or there's a problem with the fingering or something that needs to be fixed. Number 1 is you might have to practice adapting to the metronome by playing it with very simple pieces first. So if you're currently working on a piece like this, you're probably not going to be playing with the metronome unless you're used to it. You're probably going to want to use the metronome with something a bit easier like this. That's because the metronome is a skill all on its own. It's a lot of brain power to pay attention to those beeps and play at the same time. So you want to make sure that the stuff you're playing is easy enough so you can start concentrating on the metronome. The metronome uses something called BPM, or beats per minute. So if I set it to 60, that is 1 beat every second. And I want to warn you that 60 BPM is slower than you would think, because a second is slower than a lot of people think. A lot of people think a second is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's actually way faster than a second. It's like 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of time in there, I'm trying to illustrate that there. So it's slower than you think, but it is actually a good tempo to start a lot of stuff if you are new to the metronome. Set the metronome slow first. So 60 BPM, maybe even slower depending on what the piece is. And once you're able to play it at that speed, then what you do is you bump it up just like 5 BPM or just 1 notch on the metronome. You try it again, you start it up again, you play your piece. If you can keep up with the metronome, then you bump it up again and you try playing again, and you repeat that process until you get to your desired speed. Now, say you get to a speed and you can't keep up with it anymore. What should you do? Well, keep practicing at that speed, or even bump it back just a little bit and try it a little bit slower. You do not want to continue progressing in speed if you can't keep up with it and your pieces are just falling apart. We still have some interesting topics coming up, like how you should be practicing your rhythm. But first, I just want to ask, do you practice with the metronome? Be honest. Let me know in the comments. I know a lot of students who have been playing for like 10 years that don't play with the metronome. So I really want to know, do you play with the metronome? And do you want an in-depth lesson on the metronome? Me going through like pieces, like getting them up to speed? I think that would be an interesting video, showing like the whole process of how to do it correctly from start to finish. So let me know if you want that in the comments. I would love to know. Before I give you the secret sauce of how to practice your rhythms, first I want to say thank you so much to all those that have supported the channel over the years, from the regular watchers to the channel members to the mods to people that enroll in courses over on my website. I just want to take a second to say thank you so much. All right, are you ready? I'm going to give you 3 ways to practice your rhythm. The first one is clapping exercises. And if you don't have any clapping exercises to clap, I recommend just finding a piece of sheet music and clapping maybe the melody rhythm or the bass rhythm and seeing if you can do it. And a common song like Jingle Bells is a good place to start because you're going to know if it sounds right or not. Ba, 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 ba. You know what I mean? It makes it a little bit easier. But then eventually you want to branch out to things that you don't know quite as well. To see if you can play them. Another tip I have for you when it comes to practicing your rhythms is to write in the rhythms of tricky measures, like this one at the end here we're going to do, just the treble clef. So to chart this one out, obviously we have 1 E, right, because that's an eighth note. And then we have and here. Is going to be on this 16th note. And then we got 2 E and You may be saying, where are the rest of the beats? Well, there's only 2 of them, right? Because their time signature is 2/4. This next way to practice rhythm is something a lot of students don't even know about, and it's called rhythm dictation. And the whole idea of it is, I'm going to play a rhythm, and you're going to have to dictate it or write it down on paper. And we're going to make it real simple here. I'm going to count out 1, 2, ready, play, and then I'm going to play the rhythm, and you're going to have to tell me what it is, and we'll check our answers afterwards. 1, 2, ready, play. Did you catch it? Let me try one more time. 1, 2, ready, play. And what I like to do is think about notes in terms of short and long, right? We had some short ones. Bump, 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 bum, longer, bump, bump. And if we convert that to the notes that we know about, you know, we got 2/8 notes, bump, bump. Anytime you have bump, bump, it's probably 2/8 notes. Bump, bump, bump. So our dictated rhythm is going to look like this. Okay, you may be wondering, Tim, how do I practice this on my own? Well, go to teoria.com, click on exercises at the top, and if you scroll down, you're going to see a rhythmic dictation tool. And here you can select the time signatures you want to use. So I recommend just starting out with maybe 4/4, make things easy. Select what notes or rests that you want to use. And you click OK when you're ready. And then if you hear it has like a metronome, and then obviously the little synthetic flute sound, I guess maybe clarinet, that are the notes that you have to write down. So let's listen to it and let's see if we can figure this one out. So let's listen to it again and see if we can pick out what this rhythm was. So they're counting you off here. Okay, I couldn't remember exactly all of it, but what I heard was bump, bump, ba, ba, ba. So 2 shorts, short, short, long, long, long. So we got these 2 shorts and 3 longs, and let's listen again to see if we can pick out more of it. I heard bump, 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 ba. 2 and 3. Wait, bump, 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 bump. I think we got it, folks. Should we check our answer? Okay, let's see what we got. And it says correct. If you notice, it beams those notes across automatically. So don't worry if when you're inputting them, you're trying to figure out how to beam them. It just does it for you. And then you click next one. And you do the next one, and it's the exact same thing, but with different notes. Okay, I have one final tip to rule them all, and it's seriously very important. To truly master playing rhythm and time, you have to become very familiar with some common rhythm patterns that you're going to see in pretty much all of your music. And some of the ones I would be aware of are the dotted quarter eighth rhythm, the mixed 16th note rhythm, so like 16th, 8th, 16th, or 16th, 16th, 8th, or 8th, 2 16ths, things like that. You see those triplets in the duplets. 1 triplet, 2 and 3 triplet, 4 and things like that, and be able to play that with the metronome. Simple 2 versus 3 poly rhythm where you have triplets up top, duplets on the bottom. And guess what? You're probably like,
Tim, how do I count all these accurately? Do we have enough time? Do we have enough time left in this lesson to go over the rest of them? And
unfortunately, we don't, because this lesson only covers how to count accurately, not all those rhythm patterns. But guess what? I still have you covered, because in the next lesson right here, we go in depth on these common rhythm patterns, and there's even a tricky rhythm patterns one to watch after that, but you definitely want to watch this lesson next. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Thank you so much for coming by today, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.
All I want you to do is to listen to some music, my dear.
I can do that.